to the Do It All Dad Here podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me. This is season 3, episode 13. Punks make great roasters. Punk is giving the finger to conformity. Al Sharpton insists Trump is more punk than fighter. But only punks like Green Day and Trump can sell out 25,000 capacity stadiums. Kanye wrote Jesus Walks. Green Day wrote Jesus of Suburbia. Your mouth just runs its mouth and checks it can't cash Rev rerun. Can I get a holla for some mouthful of hilarity directed towards the race war instigating Jussie Smollett of his day? Holla! This is Shock Attack, Shaquille O'Neal, Hall of Famer Shaquille O'Neal defending free speech on TNT. Free speech makes America great. If anybody should be defending free speech, it should be Charles. He makes a fortune espousing his professional opinions on who's best, and he won jack shit, Ernie. Dream Team doesn't count. Sorry, Charles. LeBron James screamed, "Walk off the court," during the national anthem before tip-off against the Clippers. Billy Crystal yelled, "I don't play for you, LeBron, but your anti-American stance on freedom of speech is playing marvelous, marvelous." At the same time, LeBron, king of the persecution complex, is thinking, "I hope Bill Simmons writes a thought piece about me saving the NBA's white supremacy resistance, because he'll make sure I don't sound like an uneducated piece of shit." This is President Trump clarifying his political lynching comment. "I meant due process," which means less to Democrats today than Obama's dwindling self-worth. Giving Obama credit for this economy is like giving Nino Brown props for getting Pookie off crack and welfare. Can I get a holla for the super strong, bound for glory, Trumpian economy? Let's hope it lasts a long time. Holla! So this is me reading a kid's book to my son. I'm reading Star Wars, I Am a Droid, book to my 2-year-old son. Chosen Curls was bound to. Woo! Here we go. Probe droids are spies. The New York Times claims probe droids exist to ensure fair play, to help rein in Donald Trump's self-serving, corrupt, over-the-top, evil-minded, Russian-influenced choices. Especially knowing how often Trump goes off script at Trump rallies and decides to riff and wing the remainder of his speeches because Ron White lives in Beverly Hills. Rashida Tlaib will be joining Bernie Sanders at his Detroit rally. I remember reading about a prom in Detroit for Muslim girls only. So the prom was like mine, pork free, after I cried under my sheets from dusk till dawn. Katie Hill, head of the House Oversight Committee. I didn't know who she was 2 seconds ago either. Katie Hill, head of the House Oversight Committee, denied affairs with multiple staffers despite steamy text exchanges and apparent compromising pictures. Katie Hill tells Nancy Denture Breath Pelosi. So I took a pic, brushing my staffer's hair. Only Hillary can munch her way to the top. Can I get a holla? For God to deliver some bodyguards in my honor that I can afford from being a best-selling author so I can continue to unleash these Hillary Hammertime Cankles blasts until true justice is served. Holla! This is my impersonation of Disney CEO Bob Iger's response to Martin Scorsese dumping on action film franchises ruining the art of cinema. This is Disney CEO Bob Iger responding to Marty. Are you telling me Black Panther is a lesser film because Marty didn't make it with that dumb mook De Niro? Now, who's the fake news deep elitist? So this is Bernie Sanders defending his all-white rally outside the Queensbridge projects. Queensbridge! Represent, represent! Here we go. Bernie Sanders defending his all-white rally outside the Queensbridge projects. Nas won't return my phone calls. World Peace has gone off the reservation when I needed him the most. AOC is more street cred in suburbia because she's from Yorktown Heights, not the boogie down Bronx. By the new Yankee Stadium, otherwise known as the house that gentrification built. Black mothers have 5 jobs to be at in a post-Trumpian economy. Queens compared to Manhattan and Brooklyn is the sloppy third Kardashian sister. The extra greasy one, who's easy to pound at 3 in the morning like a lamb gyro in Astoria. Can I get a holla for some old school Queens blast that never lose their edgy oomph? Holla! Yeah, I live in Queens in Astoria. I don't miss playing pickup basketball in Queens with my brother, especially this one time after we discovered this new court right outside of Queensbridge. Before we started our game, this group of like black guys showed up, all wearing like the exact same outfit, like white beaters, though sporting the cornrow look, cut-off jean shorts. It looked as if they all got dressed up for Coolio Appreciation Day. And then before I take my first shot, the leader of the Gangstar Paradise Coalition yells out, "Yo! Blacks versus whites!" Immediately, my asshole tenses. I lean over to my brother and say, "Yikes, this basketball court just turned into a prison yard scene real fast." I think we better start looking around for some neo-Nazis to protect us. We didn't watch every single episode of Eyes for nothing. If I were to rank the greatest HBO shows of all time, it would be Eyes, Larry Sanders, Eastbound and Down, Curb. That's how much I like Danny McBride. That's how much he kills me. He's edging out my fellow Heeb, that being Larry David. No offense. Although I just read that Jerry Seinfeld auctioned off one of his sports cars for charity. I hope half those proceeds went to Larry's kids. So this is me at the barbershop today. My precious beard trim. My punk rock mark of resistance. So my kid Samuel, he points at the New York Post cover, and on it is his porn star on it who got a tour of the NYPD headquarters. And I say, too bad Stop and Frisk isn't coming back to New York City anytime soon. You thought the NYPD hated de Blasio for tying their hands up before. So my kids have assigned seats on their bus now. Where have you gone, Jenny from Forrest Gump? Arranged seating on the bus? Are my kids pledging allegiance to the Indian caste system now? That's more dated than Yiddish. It's bad enough developers have to sit with sales for shared Taco Tuesdays. Enough with the humanization campaign of Mark Zuckerberg. Zit-face Zuck is aware he comes off as robotic It's about fucking time. Fuck you. Goodwill hoodies, personalized enablers. Enable Antifa, but brand all pro-Trumpian talk as hate speech about Obama. It's me at home talking to my son. This is Archo USA, Samuel's older brother. Son says, Archo, uh, that's my son. He says, Daddy, I beat Miles during chess club all the time. Doodle dad, that be me, replies, chances are he'll contest your jumpers in a game of pickup ball with a name like Miles, getting up in your face, proclaiming, I ain't no white man's pawn. Your move, bitch. Greg Giraldo's death still saddens me. But before I get into this for a second, another cool thing about Twitter is, I done this joke. It was a situational joke about me at a Abercrombie and Fitch, and he had this bit about feeling fat and old there and being surrounded by all these shirtless man whores. Just really funny. And so part of like my punchline involved the man whore verbiage, and then I say Geraldo lives, and it turns out that there's a book now that's out. I don't know the name of the book, but you can look it up. It's on Amazon. It's already got like 30 reviews, and it's long overdue. He did deserve a book. So I just want to give a shout out to Greg Giraldo, and him being an amazing influence on myself. I remember actually living in Queens, when I found the news about him dying, and when I was on more of a speaking term relationship with my younger brother, I remember him actually making a comment saying you should write something about him, and I ended up writing a Louis spec after the fact in honor of Patrice O'Neill, which led me to write this last night, which got a lot of love among the Greg Giraldo nation. Apparently, Greg Giraldo shoutouts are not shadow banned. So I said, Greg Giraldo's death still saddens me. I wrote a Louis spec in honor of always the scariest elephant in the room, Patrice O'Neill. Nick DiPaolo loved it. Can't believe I never wrote a TV spec or pilot without Giraldo's voice in mind. His New Yorker charmish delivery was the best. Can I get a supreme powered holla for the endlessly funny, consummate, scene-stealing pro and tough crowd, forever young, the great Greg Giraldo. Holla! The coolest line in a doc on Comedy Central about Giraldo was on Tough Crowd when Dennis Leary was on, and he busted Dennis Leary's balls, because Dennis Leary busted his balls first. He said he was inferring that Giraldo was a real nerd, like the nerd in high school, like really like cheating his test, and Leary was making fun of the fact that like he came prepared with all these one-liners, and then like Giraldo says, well, we're comedians, like we write jokes, that's what you do, and if you wrote more, your show would have been canceled. And the cool line that Gaffigan delivers, which is fantastic, he goes, it was like going after God. So I'll always love Jim Gaffigan just for that commentary alone. I think that's really priceless stuff. And I love when you hear this. It's an insult to call Greg Giraldo a great roaster. He worked his ass off to become a great comedian. So being hailed as a great roaster means he was great at the job of performing his own smart, funny jokes for a living. He wasn't Bill Hicks deep either, no offense. It's an insult to call Greg Giraldo a great roaster. No, it isn't. True stand-up is a punchline sprint, not a meandering act out with your hands up with no hard punchlines in sight, like Dane Cook for the past 15 years and counting. Greg Giraldo was fucking Tommy Hearns, man. It's an insult to call Giraldo a great roaster. Since when is it an insult to call anyone great at anything? It doesn't appreciate his jokes, like the one about his son being a half a tard and how doing E when you get older to cope better this fact comes in more handy. Giraldo lives. This is the Do It All Dad Year podcast, dad-friendly entertainment for you and me. Controlling our kids' economy can make our kids great again. Check out some Greg Giraldo on YouTube tonight, doing the roast, where he shined the best. And I'll talk to you guys soon.